Well, we've made it to another Friday here in the Total Sports Zone, and as always, Friday is always Pick'em Friday. I will make my picks for this weekend's conference championship games in college football. A lot of big games. A couple of those conference championship games is going to really affect the college football playoff seedings on Sunday. And I will make my picks for all of the remaining NFL games coming up this weekend for week 14. And of course, we got to recap last night's game. Is Dallas's run to the playoffs over? Can they rebound from this? We're going to get into all that right here in the Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you on a Friday, December 5th, 2025. And as always, like I said, I will be making my picks for the games this weekend. Got some big time college football conference championship games we got to make picks on, and the NFL. But first, let's go over last night's game. Cowboys, Lions, both teams needed this game. And let's just say there's a saying that defense is supposed to travel. I don't think it in this case. Because Dallas's defense, let's face it, their offense did not put them in good positions in a lot of situations where they had to defend the end zone. The Dallas's offense, when you give up 3 turnovers, an interception, 2 interceptions, and a fumble, you're not putting your defense in a good position. I don't care how good a team or how bad a team you are. You're not putting your defense in a great position. And that's what happened last night. Dallas turned the ball over 3 times, 2 interceptions by Dak Prescott, even though one interception was not really his fault. It was basically George Pickens giving up on the play. We'll get into George Pickens in a little bit. But he did fumble. He did throw another interception that led to some more points for the Detroit Lions. And let's face it, Dallas's defense, although it has slightly improved, I said yesterday I wanted to see if it improved enough to be able to stop a potent offense on the road. As you can see by the final score, that didn't happen. Dallas, the Detroit Lions won the game 44-30. So as you can see, Dallas's defense did not show up last night. It needed to, especially when Dallas scored to get the game within 37-30 with about 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they promptly gave up a touchdown. So, let's go over this. Dak Prescott, you really cannot blame him for the loss, even though he did throw 2 interceptions. Like I said, one of those interceptions was not his fault. It bounced off the receiver and just happened to go into the defenders and the cornerback's hands for an interception. So you can't blame that one on him. The other one, yes, you can. You can also blame the fumble. You can also blame the fumble. You got a ball security. But Dak Prescott was under duress most of the night. His offensive line didn't do much of anything to protect him. He had 5 sacks. He was hit numerous times. He almost got sacked for safety. It looked to me like it was a safety. But the officials said the ball was just outside the line when he was hit. So they just said he was sacked, but no safety. But he was under duress all night. And I don't know. It's and let's talk about George Pickens. As you can see by the numbers, he was targeted 9 times. He only had 5 catches. He did not have a good game. He only had 5 catches on 9 targets for 37 yards. And it seemed like he was disinterested in helping out Dak last night. He stopped on a few routes. He is like he gave up on a couple of catches he could have had. He gave up on them. It was like you were looking at George Pickens and you're a Cowboys fan. You're wondering what the hell are you doing out there? And for a guy who's going to be a free agent, you would think, especially in a critical game like this, you would try to put on your best performance of the season, especially when you're trying to get paid. A road game against a team that's fighting for their playoff lives, and you're fighting for your playoff lives, and you put on a performance like this, and you're trying to get paid next year. It's not a good look if you're George Pickens. Not a good look to me. I'm pretty sure it's not a good look for a lot of Cowboys fans. And you wonder what's going on with him. And a couple of times in that game, you could see how frustrated Dak Prescott was with Pickens. You could see on a couple of replays, you could see Dak was chewing Pickens out. And I don't blame him. It's like, we're trying to win this game, man. Where your head at? His head wasn't, I don't know where his head was at, but it certainly wasn't in Detroit last night. Because we're talking about George Pickens, he was, for the last 2-3 weeks, he had been the team's MVP. He was balling. And you would think after CeeDee Lamb went out of the game with a concussion, you would think George Pickens, okay, get on my back, Dak, throw me the ball. You would think that would be his mindset. In a big game like this, when you're trying to keep your playoff hopes, however slim, you're trying to keep them alive, you would think, okay, my man CD's out. Dak, throw me the ball. I got this. Throw me the ball. You would think that would be your mindset if you're George Pickens. Not last night. And I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he's second in the league. Going into this game, he was second in the league in receiving yards. What happened? That's the question. That's the question I'm pretty sure on a lot of Cowboys' minds. What happened to George Pickens? It's like he just did not care to play this game. It's like, why show up? And quite frankly, I'm wondering myself, why did you even bother showing up if you was going to have a performance like that? You were targeted 9 times, you only had 5 catches, and he could have had at least 2 or 3 more catches if you just bothered putting a little bit more effort in getting the ball. And one of the interceptions Dak threw bounced off his hands. It was right in his hands, and it bounced right off, right into the defender's lap. He's going the other way. Now, as you can see by the numbers, Dak Prescott threw for 376, but basically, and it's not like it, but like I said, he was under duress most of the night. He took 5 sacks. But Dak did everything he could do to try to get this team to the victory. But on the road, you can't just keep kicking field goals. Not against a team with a formidable offense like the Detroit Lions. They kicked 5 field goals last night. It's not going to get it on the road. You might get away with that at home. I've seen the Cowboys get away with that at home. But on the road, you can't keep kicking field goals and hope to win the game. It was amazing they got it as close as they did late in the fourth quarter. They got it to within 1 score with all them kicking field goals. They only scored 2 touchdowns. You know, Aubrey kicked 5 field goals, including a 63-yarder. But on the road, you can't keep just kicking field goals. You're not going to win that way, especially when you have a less than average at best defense. And let's face it, their defense could not stop the Lions when they needed to. Couldn't do it all night. They definitely didn't have an answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. They might have slowed him down running the ball, but you gotta give it up to Coach Dan Campbell and their offensive coordinator. Said, okay, we can't if he can't get nothing going on the ground. Let's throw him the ball. Let's see what he can do. And that's exactly what he ate the Cowboys up by throwing the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield and having his way to the tune of he led the team in Detroit Lions 7 grabs on 96 yards on 9 targets. He was eating them alive. He was moving them chains when, especially on 3rd down. Dallas, they would just throw the ball to James Winston, Jahmyr Gibbs. Why not? At 77 yards on 7 catches. And they also scored 3 touchdowns on the ground. They had no answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. They slowed him down somewhat, but combine that with the fact that the Cowboys were turning the ball over and putting the Lions in great field position. They couldn't slow down Jahmyr Gibbs. Couldn't even slow him down enough to hold them to field goals. They were scoring touchdowns while the Cowboys were kicking field goals and turning the ball over. Dallas did everything you were not supposed to do on the road if you want to win. Instead of getting touchdowns, they were settling for field goals and then they were turning the ball over. That's not a recipe for victory when you're the road team. And you have a less than average defense. And that's what happened last night. Now, here's the question. Is Dallas's run to the playoff over? Right now, according to ESPN this morning, the ESPN metrics or whatever they use, the Cowboys have about an 8% chance to make the playoff. 8%. While Detroit's playoff chances jumped up to 48%. In some metrics, it's over 50%. That's how big this game was last night. And Dallas couldn't get it done. Detroit did. Detroit made the plays. Dallas did not. Jared Goff, an efficient 309 yards on 25 of 34 with only 1 touchdown, but he was only sacked once. He was not pressured that much. He had time to throw it to all his targets, and he spread the bluff around. 96 yards for Jameson Williams. Amon St. Brown, 92 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, most of those 77 yards were throws out of the backfield. I mean, they did work. They did. He was efficient. He was not rushed much of the night. I don't think he was even hit that much. And let's talk about. Oh, we got to talk about it. That one call that went against the Cowboys late in the game when they ended up settling for a field goal. That offensive pass interference call. There's no way that was an offensive pass interference call. I know that call didn't. I don't think that call had anywhere near the deciding the game, but it did keep the Cowboys from being able to score a touchdown. Definitely when they were down 2 scores. I don't think it was a pass. I know you've seen it. I know some of y'all seen it. The offensive pass interference call on Ferguson, the tight end, when they said he pushed off on the linebacker. It wasn't even a push. He didn't even push him. I mean, he touched his back and then let off. Deuce, the linebacker fell. If anything, and the way he was hit, there should have been defensive pass interference. Nope, they called it on the offense. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Cowboys fans were throwing beer bottles and cups and whatever at their TV. And I don't blame you. That was a bogus call. Still didn't, I don't think it decided the outcome of the game too much, but it probably would have made the game a little bit more interesting, because if the call would have went the Cowboys' way, they would have had the ball at the 1 yard line, and I'm pretty sure they would have scored. And then who knows what would have happened. So I don't think that call really factored in heavily into the outcome of the game, but it could have made the game a little bit more interesting at the very end. At least I think so. Nevertheless, Detroit won the game 44-30. They are now 8-5, and the Cowboys are sitting back at 500 at 6-1. Now here's the question again: are the Cowboys done for this season? They have 4 games left. They have their next game is at home against the Vikings. And then I believe they go to the Chargers, which is a winnable game. Then they have the Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. Their last 4 games. They're all winnable games. But with this loss last night, that puts them I think 2.5, two games at least right now, 2 games behind the Eagles in the NFC East, and that puts them way behind. Now they lose tiebreakers to at least they've lost tiebreakers as far as wild card positions. They've lost tiebreakers to they tied the Packers. They lost to the Bears. They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Carolina Panthers. All 3 of those, and then we got the Green Bay Packers that tied. All 4 of those teams are right now in the playoff hunt, either leading division or in the wild card. And don't forget about the NFC West, where you got 3 teams with 9 wins. Dallas is sitting with only 6. Is the Cowboys run at the playoffs over? Right now, I think wild card wise, they may be done. I think they're done as far as being able to. They're just too far behind. They were behind at least 6 teams. They're just too far behind to try to catch, and with only 4 games remaining, they're too far behind to try to catch anybody for the wild card. And they lose tiebreakers to 3 teams: the Bears, the Lions, the Panthers. They're tied with Green Bay, but they'll probably lose that tiebreaker based on a better common record against common opponents, or better conference record. Let's put it like that. So they're basically behind 4 teams minimum. And don't forget about the NFC West. They're behind all those teams except we don't have to worry about the Cardinals, but they're behind all 4, the other 3, the Rams, 49ers, the Seahawks. They're behind them by at least 3 games. They just have too many obstacles to overcome. And Dak Prescott said it in his post-game press conference. He said it. They're going to need some help. And they're going to need a lot of help if they want to even sniff a wild card spot. As far as the division, well, this loss put the Eagles on the catbird seat. If they can get their head out of their ass, they should be able to win this division next week or 2. If they can get their head out of their ass. Now, if Eagles keep imploding like they've been doing the last couple of weeks, Dallas might have a chance. But as I see it, the only way Dallas is going to make the playoffs this year, they have to win out and hope Philly keeps sliding, and they might can steal the division. With this loss last night, that's the only way I see them getting to the playoffs. Like I said, the next 4 games are winnable. They're winnable, but they're going to need some help and a whole lot of it. And I just don't see it happening. Do you? Let me know what you think. Again, 44-30, the final score. Detroit over Dallas. Dallas is, let's face it, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's move on to Pick 'em Friday, where I make my picks. I do usually do 5 games in college football. The best 5 games or the most intriguing 5 games that I see in college football. But this is conference championship weekend. So I'm going to make my picks for all the conference championship games this weekend, even the itty bitties, even the ones that really ain't going to matter too much on the whole, as a whole, on the college football playoff landscape. So here we go. Again, as always, I pick against the spread. I will not divulge which sports book I'm using, but I will pick against the spread, and I always pick the over-under. So, here we go. College football playoff. All these games are pretty much conference games or conference championship games for this weekend. Let's start with the American Championship game. We got North Texas, ranked 24th in the college football playoff, heading to New Orleans to take on number 20 ranked Tulane. North Texas was right now favored by 2.5 with an over-under of 66.5. I've seen North Texas play a couple of games this year. Couple of them games, they just blew the other team out. And then the one game they showed on TV, I saw South Florida came into their house and blew them out. I'm not sure about North Texas' defense. Offensively, they can put up points with the best of them. But will they be able to do it knowing that their head coach is moving on? I believe their head coach is moving on to, if I'm not mistaken, Florida or something like that. But will they be able to put up them points? Still put up them points. I believe the coach is still coaching them throughout, no matter what happens in the postseason. So, my question is, will North Texas be able to put up those same points against a tough Tulane defense, especially at home, especially with Tulane being at home? That is my concern about this game. The North Texas offense against the Tulane defense in New Orleans. At home, if this was flipped the other way around and this game was played in Denton, Texas, I wouldn't worry about it. But it worries me about North Texas's ability to score on the road against the Tulane on the road. However, I believe North Texas can pull this out. I do believe. I believe this is one of North Texas, the Mean Green. This is one of the best years they've had in years. And quite frankly, if they win this game, they could possibly make it to the college football playoff. This game right here whoever wins this game has a really, really good chance to make it to the college football playoff. And I believe North Texas will be the one to pull out this victory. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a back and forth affair. But I like North Texas in this game. So give me North Texas, and I'll lay the 2.5. And over under 66, I'm going to go over. I think this is going to be a really, really fun offensive shootout for the American Championship. So give me North Texas minus the 2.5, and I'll take the over on the 66.5. Next, the Mountain West Championship. We got UNLV heading into the blue carpet in Boise, Idaho, to take on Boise State on that blue carpet. Oh yeah, the North Texas Tulane game is tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. That game happens. That game will be on tonight. I believe it's on ESPN tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And UNLV and Boise State will be on tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. I believe that game will be on Fox, either Fox or FS1. We got UNLV and Boise State. With the home team, Boise State favored by 5.5 with an over under 58.5. Really haven't seen either one of these teams play too much, but I've heard they can put up points. I've seen UNLV play, and yeah, they're the real deal. They can put up points if you give them the opportunity. And while I think Boise State, this is a team last year, they were in the college football playoff. That's not happening this year. But they've always been a strong team, especially at home. Especially on that weird blue carpet. They're tough to beat. They've always been tough to beat. So I'm going to take the Boise State Broncos and lay the 5.5. And I'm going to go over on the over under 58.5. I think it's going to be another defensive shootout. Offensive shootout. Just what I think. I think there's going to be another offensive shootout. Why not? Good thing to look at on a Friday night. Again, tonight. That game's tonight on Fox, I believe, at 8 Eastern. Now, moving on to tomorrow's championship games. We got the MAC championship game. Miami of Ohio taking on Western Michigan. I believe this game is at Fort Field. So, you got Western Michigan Broncos favored by 1.5, 1.5 over Miami with an over under 43.5. Well, the MAC tends to be like when the MAC lately, last few years, when I've seen the MAC or heard the MAC conference championship game, it's always come down to the end. It's like the teams that play in that championship game, they're very evenly matched. So this game could go either way. That's why I believe the point spread is so close. This is two teams that are really evenly matched, and they're playing indoors, so we ain't got to worry about weather. Weather is not going to be a factor in this one. And with two evenly matched teams, I always tend to go with the team that's designated the home team, especially on a conference championship on a neutral field. I always tend to favor the home team. I ain't doing that this time. Let me go. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna take the Miami of Ohio, and I'll give me the 1.5. So I'll take Miami of Ohio with the 1.5, and I'll go under on the over under 43.5. I think this game is gonna be somewhere in maybe 20-17 or something to that effect. I don't see too much scoring in it. I don't think there'll be too much scoring in this one. I might be wrong, but I just don't see it. That game is tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern. All right. Next. Now we're getting into the big heavies. The ones that are going to these are the conference championship games that's going to severely and either adversely or unadversely affect the college football playoff seeds. First one is the Big 12 championship game in Arlington, Texas. 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, where we have the BYU Cougars, number 11 in the college football playoff rankings, going against the number 4 team, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is favored by 12.5 with an over-under of 49.5. Well, why shouldn't they be favored by 12.5? They beat Texas Tech. Pretty bad. But you know what they say? It's hard. It's really hard to beat the same team twice in the same year. In college football, that's always been true. Very difficult to beat the same team twice, especially a team that you beat. And they remember it. BYU remembers. So, will BYU come at the game a little different than they did against Tech when they previously played Texas Tech? I'm pretty sure of it. What about Texas Tech? Will they come in this game playing a little different than they did when they previously beat BYU? I'm pretty sure of it. Game's about adjustments. This is going to be a chess match, and it should. All conference championship games should be chess matches. You got to play chess out there, not checkers. Especially if you want to win that conference championship. And BYU they know what kind of firepower Texas Tech brings to the table. So they got to ramp up their defense if they want to have any shot. The defense is going to have to get home. They're going to have to contain that quarterback of Texas Tech. He's pretty damn good. They're going to have to find a way to contain him and stop the run. And hopefully they can get a key turnover here or there to help them out. That's the only way I see BYU winning this game. They're going to have to get a turnover here or there, and they're going to have to somehow try to contain that quarterback. I just don't see them doing that. I don't. So give me Texas Tech, especially in this game being in Texas. There's going to be a hell of a contingent of Texas Tech people, Red Raiders. They're from Lubbock. Lubbock's about 2-3 hours from Orange. They can drive here. They can drive here and see the game, and they drive back and be home at a reasonable hour. So there's going to be a nice contingent of Red Raiders fans at this game. It's almost like a home game. It's almost going to be like a home game for Texas Tech. I guarantee it. That's why I'm taking Texas Tech in this game minus 12.5. I think they'll win this by at least 3 scores. I believe Texas Tech will win this game by at least 3 scores. So give me Texas Tech. I'll give them the 12.5, and I'll go over on the over-under 49.5. I believe Texas Tech going to drop 40 points on themselves. I believe Texas Tech will drop 40 points at least by themselves. Don't know what BYU might drop. So but that's going to definitely put the over on the over-under. So I get the over on the 49.5. Give me Texas Tech minus the 12.5. That game, again, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time. Next, we got the SEC Championship game. Now, as far as how this game affects the college football playoff rankings, pretty simple. Georgia wins, they're going to be guaranteed a first-round bye. They're guaranteed a first-round bye. If Alabama wins, at the very least, they'll get a home playoff game. I believe both teams are solid to make the college football playoff, win or lose. Georgia, definitely. Alabama, like I said in yesterday's live stream, I do not think the committee will punish Alabama for playing the extra game, particularly the SEC championship game. And they lose that game. I don't think the committee will punish Alabama for that. So, I think both these teams are in no matter what. It's all about this game, to me, is to be all about whoever wins, where they'll be positioned in the season. Like I said, if Georgia wins, they're guaranteed a first-round bye. If Alabama wins, they're guaranteed at least a home playoff game for the first round. Currently, Georgia is favored by 2.5 with an over-under of 48.5. Let me tell you something. Like I said, I just said, it's hard to beat the same team twice in a season. But Alabama has had Georgia's number if you haven't noticed, Alabama has had Georgia's number over the past 5-6 years. Georgia is 1-6 against Alabama since 2018. 2019, I think. They're 1-6. That one game that Georgia did win was the national championship game back in 2020. I believe 2021. Yeah, 2021. When they finally figured out how to beat Alabama and won the national championship. But other than that, it's been all Bama. Bama has been Georgia's bugaboo. And I believe that's going to be the same this weekend. I don't know why. I know this game is being played in Atlanta, so there's going to be a strong contingent of Georgia fans there. Usually for Alabama and Georgia, that game is usually split as far as the fans. We have Alabama fans, have Georgia fans. For some reason, I don't understand why Georgia has a problem. They beat everybody else in the SEC. They can beat everybody else in the SEC except Alabama. And I don't know why. And I don't think that's going to change this weekend. I got my money on Alabama. I'll take Alabama and I'll take the 2.5. I believe they'll win this game outright and be the SEC champions again. Georgia's defense isn't what it used to be. Georgia's defense used to be one of the more dominant defenses in all of college football. It's not that. Now, I know Alabama has had a problem running the ball. And they did take that loss at home to Oklahoma. But this is Georgia. This ain't Oklahoma. And like I said, it's all up in here. And right now, Alabama is probably living rent-free in Georgia's head. And that's what's going to cost Georgia, in my mind, that's what's going to cost Georgia the SEC championship. I'll take Alabama in this game, plus the 2.5. The over-under 48.5. I'm going to take the under on this one. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I really do. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. Both offenses are probably going to struggle early, and then probably as we get closer to halftime and then in the third quarter, they're going to hit their stride. And Alabama's just going to make that one play that's going to get them the game, give them the win. I can take Bama plus the 2.5. Give me the under on the over-under 48.5. That game is tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Next game I'm definitely interested in, of course, the Big Ten championship game. Got Ohio State, number one team in the country, number one team in college football playoff, playing the number 2 team in the college football playoff and number 2 team in the country, Indiana. Currently, according to this sports book, Ohio State is favored by 4.5 with an over-under of 46.5. I've agonized over the past 24 to 48 hours on who I'm going to pick in this game. Even though I'm wearing an Ohio State hat and I'm a Buckeyes fan, I've agonized over this. These two teams are almost mirror images of one another. They both have Heisman Trophy candidates at quarterback. They both have great wide receivers. They both have dominant defenses. I think Ohio State's number 1 in total defense and points allowed. I think Indiana's either 2 or 3. They both have great head coaches. Kirk Cignetti has done a wonderful job turning Indiana into a relevant program. And he's done it in only 2 years. And Ryan Day, he finally got the monkey off his back by beating that team up north. And he's won a national championship. So you got 2 great head coaches. This is almost like mirror image. I think this game is going to come down to which quarterback plays better. Julian Sain or Fernando Mendoza. The quarterback that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to be the quarterback that wins this game. I'm still agonizing on who I think that's going to be. They're both great quarterbacks. And I would not be surprised if the winner of this game, the quarterback of the winning team of this game, wins the Heisman Trophy. That's how I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if it comes down to that. The winner of this game, the quarterback who wins this game, will be also winning the Heisman Trophy next week. I truly believe that, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to that. That being said, I think this is going to be a close game. There ain't going to be no blowouts. I don't see a blowout either way. I don't. Either Ohio State or Indiana. These two teams are just too closely matched. I believe Ohio State has a little bit more depth than Indiana, but you can't argue with the results from either team. Now, I know everybody's thinking Ohio State hasn't been really tested since the Texas game, the first game of the season. They haven't really been tested. And that's true. But it's not like they haven't met some kind of adversity. They met adversity last week against that team up north. And they overcame it. For that reason alone, them overcoming that team up north, I believe Ohio State will come into this game with a lot more confidence, which is why I'm picking Ohio State to win it. But I think it's going to be by field goal. So, give me Ohio State to win, but give me Indiana to cover. 4.5 point spread. I believe this game is going to come down to a field goal. I believe that. I believe this game is going to come down to a field goal. So give me Ohio State to win, give me Indiana to cover, and I'm going over on the over-under 46.5. That's how I'm seeing it. Ohio State will win, but Indiana will cover the 4.5 point spread. That game kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. I believe that game is on 7 p.m. Central. That game is on Fox. Next, and finally, the ACC championship game. Now, we all know this particular game is going to go a long way in determining who's going to get in the college football playoff in that 9-13 bubble in the rankings. Virginia against Duke. Duke is underdog in this game by 3.5 points. Virginia's got a 3.5 point favorite with an over-under 57.5. Now, Virginia's only way to the college football playoff is they got to win this game. That's the only shot of getting in. Now, if Duke wins, all hell's breaking loose. We all know that. If Duke wins this game tomorrow night, all hell breaking loose in the college football playoff. A couple of teams' bubbles are going to bust wide open. Who could it be? Who knows? At this point, I don't know. It could be Miami. It could be Notre Dame. It could be Texas. It could be any of them. But a couple of teams' playoff bubbles are going to bust if Duke wins this game. And if Duke does win this game, there's a strong possibility there will be no ACC team in the college football playoff. That's a possibility. Personally, I think Virginia's just too strong, though. Virginia's too strong. I think they're strong. They have more depth. They have better quarterback play. Duke got in by technicalities. Technically, I'm seriously surprised the spread is that close. I think Virginia's going to run away hot. They've already beaten them once. Blew them out, 34-17. I don't see anything changing now, even though they're playing for a conference championship. I don't see nothing changing. Give me Duke. No, give me Virginia minus the 3.5, and I'll take the under on the over-under 57.5. I just don't see anything changing from the first time these two teams played. And a lot of teams better be praying to the maker that Virginia win this game. So I'm going to be praying with them. Give me Virginia minus the 3.5. Over under 57.5. I'll take the under. That game is scheduled 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. That game is also on ESPN. So those are the conference championship games that are coming up. Oh, we got one more. The Sun Belt. Totally forgot. James Madison and Troy. James Madison favored by 23.5 with an over under 46.5. That game's tonight. I totally forgot about that one. I'll take James Madison. Don't know much about Troy, but I've seen James Madison play. They're the truth. They're the truth. I'll take James Madison. I think they're going to blow Troy off the field. Give me the over under 46.5. I'll take the over on that one. I think James Madison is going to blow them off the field. Because they also got a shot at getting into the college football playoff. If they can blow Troy out, look good doing it, who knows? And who knows? Especially if, like I said, if BYU picks off Texas Tech and Duke beats Virginia, who knows? Who knows? That game's tonight. So those are my picks for the major conference championship games that will happen tonight and tomorrow in college football. Now, let's move on over to the NFL. NFL, my picks for week 14. Let's go. I gotta do better. My picks was really, really shitty last week. So I'm gonna try to do better. Here we go. First game. Miami Dolphins taking on the New York Jets. Miami favored by 3 or over under 41.5. You know, Miami has looked better of late. If you haven't noticed that, Miami has looked better. Tua, the defense, they've looked a lot better. I mean, beat the Bills. They beat the Saints. They've looked better the last few weeks. And the New York Jets are still the New York Jets. Simple as that. They beat Atlanta simply because Atlanta doesn't know how to close. They don't know how to finish. I don't know how they picked off the Jets, but they did. I don't know how they picked off the Falcons, but they did. Simply because Falcons are not a really good team at all. However, I don't know if weather's going to play a factor in this one. It might. But I just think the Dolphins have a little bit more talent than the New York Jets. And plus, they've been on, like I said, they played a lot better the last few weeks. So I'm going to take the Dolphins minus the 3, but I'm going to go under on the over-under 41.5. I think weather will be the determining factor why this game will be a low scoring. So, give me the Dolphins minus the 3. I'll take the under on the 41.5. That game is at 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Next, got the Battle of the Birds. Got the Seahawks going to the dirty to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Seahawks are favored by 6.5 with an over under of 44.5. And they should be. Atlanta, probably, I want to pick them because I am a little bit of a Falcons fan. But this team just doesn't know how to finish games. They just don't. They have the lead late. Right within the 2-minute warning, they have the lead, and somehow, some way, they blow it. I think personally, they need to hire another team doctor just to be on the sidelines for them to perform the Heimlich maneuver when they choke, because that's what they do. They choke. They blow games. That is what the Falcons do. And I said a long time ago, I don't trust them no more. I'll still root them, but I don't trust them. And plus, the Seahawks are one of the better road teams in the National Football League, especially on defense. And that defense is going to get after Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson and Drake and all of them because that's what they do on the road. So I'm going to take the Seahawks minus the 6.5. And I'm going to go under on the over under 44.5. Just don't trust the Falcons to finish. That game's at 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, you got the New Orleans Saints heading to the Bay to take on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay favored by 8.5 with an over under of 41.5. It's simple. New Orleans is one of the worst teams in the league. We don't even need to delve into this one too much. If the Buccaneers are half-ass healthy, and they are half-ass healthy, they'll beat this team. They should be able to beat the Saints with their eyes closed. The Saints are that horrible. Give me the Bucks minus the 8.5 with the over and under 41.5. I'm gonna take the over on this one. I think Tampa Bay gonna light New Orleans up. I really do. That game's at 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, we have the Commanders heading to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. To say that these two teams need to win is an understatement. These two teams, I think, what are they now? 3-9 each, something like that. Washington is favored by 1.5 with an over under 43.5. Let's face it. A lot of people that believed in J.J. McCarthy, I think the Vikings were really, really stupid for letting Sam Darnold go. Let's face it, a rookie quarterback. McCarthy was out all season, and then you come back and you put all your chips on him after Sam Darnold got you to 14-3. Don't get it. I still don't understand it. And they're paying the price for that. And Minnesota is currently paying the price for being that stupid. You don't let a quarterback who just got you 14 wins out of 17 games walk. If anything, they should have kept Darnold and had McCarthy holding the clipboard again for at least this year. See what happens. Nope. Start McCarthy, and he just ain't ready. He's just not ready. And it shows in their play. However, the only reason why I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings, no, I'm not. You know what? I'm not taking them. I don't believe in them. Not as long as McCarthy is their quarterback. Give me the Commanders minus the 1.5. Over under 43.5. I believe the Commanders will win this game outright. I think they'll win this game outright. But I'm going to take the over on the 43.5. I think it's going to be a pretty good offensive show. Games at 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, now we got some good games. Now, this is a pretty good matchup. Indianapolis Colts heading to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. We got the Colts favored by 1.5 with an over under 46.5. Colts have been slipping. They've lost 2 in a row. Colts have been slipping a little bit lately. And now that I believe, what is it? The Texans are tied with them. Either Texans or the Jaguars. One of those two teams are tied with them. In the AFC South. Jacksonville is no joke, especially at home. And then like I said, I think I said this in previous show. I believe Trevor Lawrence has found his niche on this team. He doesn't have to win the game with the pieces and the defense they have. You just don't have to lose it. Take care of the ball. Get the ball to your playmakers in space. Let them eat. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And Jacksonville has surprised people. They've done this quietly. Gotten themselves into playoff position quietly. I know I ain't heard no much stink from them. They've done this on the what they call the DL. And they have done it on the DL. I like the Jaguars. So give me the Jacksonville. I'm gonna pick Jacksonville in this one. Give me the 1.5. And I'm going to take the under on the 46.5. That game is scheduled at 1 o'clock Eastern as well. And then here Here's another Big E. Two teams that need a win. We got the Steelers traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. These two teams sitting up on top of the AFC North at 6-6. And this is the first of two meetings these two will have over the next 3-4 weeks. In this meeting, Baltimore is favored by 5.5 with an over under 43.5. To say the least, both these teams need this victory. And to say the least, I believe both these teams have been up and down like a roller coaster. Who's going to be up this week? I don't know. I honestly don't know who's going to be up this week. Both these teams coming off from embarrassing losses at home. Pittsburgh got embarrassed by Buffalo at home. Baltimore got embarrassed by the Bengals on Thanksgiving. So both these teams definitely need a win to lick their wounds. I don't know who to pick on this one. Like I said, both these teams are up and down like a yo-yo. They've been like that all year. And I hate both of the teams too. Yeah, I do. But for the sake of this pick, I'm going to go with the Ravens to win. I'm going to go with the Steelers to cover. I believe this game was going to be really close. So give me the Ravens to win. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will cover the 5.5 point spread. And I'm going to take the under on the over under 43.5. I'm just doing it because I really don't know what else to pick. As far as these two, I'm being honest, I don't know. That game's at 1:00 Eastern. And we got a game I don't think a lot of people are going to be watching. Tennessee Titans going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Browns is favored by 3.5 with over under 33.5. Two teams that just basically they stink. It just which team is going to stink less. Plus, this game might go a long way. Who determining who's going to be out of the number one pick in next year's draft? I just think the Browns have just a little bit more talent as far as this game is concerned. Browns got a little bit more talent than the Titans in this one. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'll take the Browns to win it. Minus 3.5. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to have a better performance than he had last week against the 49ers. And I think the defense will eat. I think Myles Garrett is going to have at least 2 sacks in this game. 2. I'm predicting Myles Garrett will have 2 sacks in this game. That'll put him at 21 sacks, I believe. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks the record in this game. But we'll see. Give me the Browns minus 3.5 over under. I'm going to take the under on the 33.5. That game's at 1:00 Eastern. Next, we got the Bengals heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills coming off a big victory against the Steelers. And they're favoring this game by 5.5 with over under 53.5. Got Josh Allen against Joe Burrow. This could be a shootout. Both these team defenses ain't all that. So this could be a shootout. And I'm going to call it like this. Buffalo will win it. I think Cincinnati will cover. Buffalo to win, Cincinnati to cover. The weather ain't going to be a factor because both these teams play outdoors. So that's why I don't know why that spread is so high. Buffalo to win, I got Cincinnati covering that 5.5 point spread. Give me the under on the over under 53.5. It's going to be slightly under that. That game's at 1:00 Eastern. Next, we have the Denver Broncos heading to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Denver's favored by 7.5 with over under 40.5. We don't even need to discuss this. Raiders might be the worst team in the National Football League. They suck on offense. They suck on defense. They suck on special. They just suck. So I'll take Denver all day long, minus the 7.5. They might win this game by 20. They really don't need to do much. Just show up, kick the ball off. Don't turn the ball over. They'll win this game by at least 2 scores. Give me Denver by 7, winning 7, latest 7.5. I'll take the over on the 40.5. That game's at 4 o'clock Eastern. Next, another big game. Chicago heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers. First of 2 meetings between these two. We got the Packers at home favored by 6.5 with over under 44.5. If the Bears run the ball the way they did against Philly, they can pull this upset. However, Green Bay has had the Bears number over the last, 5 years? They've had the number. And it doesn't matter if it was Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love being the quarterback. It didn't matter. It seems like Green Bay has always had the Bears number. Will that continue this week? I'm going to say yes. Give me the Packers, and I'll lay the 6.5 with over under 44.5. I'll take the under. I just don't think, as much as they can get good at running the ball, I'm not sold on Caleb Williams yet. He's got to show me a little bit more before I can believe in him as being the future of the Chicago Bears at QB. Give me the Packers minus the 6.5, over under 44.5. I'll go under. That game is at 4:25, 4:30 Eastern. Next, we have the Los Angeles Rams heading to the desert, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Rams favored by 8.5 with over under 47.5. The Rams need to get back on track, and there's not a better team they coming up with, especially in their own division, to try to get on track with. And I believe they'll do that. All they need to do is just take care of the ball. They take care of the ball, they should win this game in a walk. Give me the Rams minus the 8.5, and I'll take the over on the over under 47.5. That game is at 4:25 Eastern. Now, we got the Sunday night game. Another big game. Houston Texans, heading to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. To say the least, the Chiefs need this game badly. They're sitting at 6-6. So they need this game. They need to win out, and they might need a little bit of help just to get into the playoffs. Can they do it? Like I said, don't count out Patrick Mahomes just yet. I'm not going to count him out. Don't you count him out just yet either. I like the Chiefs. I'll take the 3.5. I'll lay the 3.5 and I'll say the under on the 41.5. I know Houston has a strong defense. CJ Stroud, his line is protecting him better. He's seeing his targets, and Houston is right there. But this is in Kansas City. I like the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs minus the 3.5. That is the Sunday night game, 8:30 Eastern. And finally, the Monday night game this week has the Philadelphia Eagles heading to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Philly favored by 2.5 with over under of 41.5. Which Eagles team are we going to get? Are we going to get the team that with the dominant defense? Or are we going to get the team that let teams run over and around and throw them with the offense still dysfunctional? What are we going to get? Now the Eagles somehow are more dysfunctional and not very good playing 8-4 teams I've ever seen. But they are 8-4. So, which team are we going to get from the Eagles? They ain't playing no chumps. Justin Herbert and the guys. Justin Herbert, he's playing this game after having surgery on his left hand. He's still going to be out here playing this game. That's a tough SOB. Are the Eagles going to be tougher? I don't know. And I don't like it. I'll take the Chargers, and I'll take the 2.5. I think the Chargers will win this game outright. Give me the Chargers plus the 2.5, and I'll go under on the over-under 41.5. I just don't like the fact that the Eagles' offense has been, at best, wishy-washy over the past month. Wishy-washy. They better get their head out their booty. Because, like I said, the Chargers ain't no joke. But which Eagles team are we going to see? Guess we'll find out Monday. But I'll take the Chargers plus the 2.5, and I'll go under on the 41.5 over under. So, those are my NFL picks for week 14. You like them? You don't like them? Let me know. Hit me up with a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. I really appreciate the likes and subscribes. The subscribers that have been sticking with me, thank you very much. Don't forget, I am now on Instagram and TikTok. The Total Sports Ozone. I'll be throwing up some clips there of my previous shows, and I might throw an extra ringer or two up in there just in case if I see something great over the weekend. But TikTok and Instagram, the Total Sports Ozone. So that's gonna do it for me for in the Ozone today. We're gonna go back and we got a whole lot of great football this weekend. Conference championships tonight and tomorrow. NFL Sunday and Monday. We're gonna talk about all this on Monday, and I'll see you then, right there, right here in the Ozone. Have a great weekend.